But what does it take to make a business resilient in an ever-changing market? How can founders design revenue streams that provide stability, flexibility, and long-term growth? So our next session, Creating Revenue Streams That Build a Resilient Business, dives into these questions. You will learn from the founders and experts who have crafted diverse income models, adapted to market shifts, and strengthened their business against uncertainty. So please join me in welcoming our incredible panelists to the stage. We have our moderator. We have Kevin McRitchie, the CEO and president and chairman of Tactical Rehabilitation and Brilliant Health Solutions. And we also have the panelists, Sam Sa, the CEO of Fraction, Banu Ramamurthy, CTO and founder of Yuga Shift Corporation, Arias, the CEO in Navigating Resilience, and Jan Eric Bollig, the orange guy, founder, CMO, and B2B growth strategy consultant at B2B Up Consulting. Thank you. Oh. Okay, right.
Perfect. So, good morning, everyone. Great to have you here. I'm the orange guy from Germany. Nice to have you here. But before we start, I'm not Kevin. I have a quick note. Kevin was originally planned to moderate this panel, but he's due to medical issues. He can't be with us. So I'll be stepping in, which I guess it's a kind of a flexibility, or better say resilience. So Kevin, wherever you are, which I guess is a good example of resilience, but we hope everything is okay, and yeah, God bless you. So, and with that, we have a different little bit setup, but Kevin is out and we are here. Let's move into the topic for today. So we are talking about one simple thing, in my opinion. Everyone is talking about that. Resilience. But what is actually resilience? Resilience, as we mentioned and figured out in our conversation before, has different definitions. But one definition is the mental and the crisis thing, which is a part of resilience. And I would like to hand over to Oak. He's an expert exactly in that area. And yeah, stage is yours.
Cool. Can y'all hear me okay?
No.
Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, no.
Oh, yeah, it is just speaking up, isn't it? That's resilience, I guess, huh? So resilience, what is it? So resilience can be defined at an individual level, or we can define resilience from a business process level. But at the end of the day, it's the same thing. Resilience is the ability to not return to baseline in the midst, or post-crisis. Resilience is the ability to take the event, the crisis, everything that happened, and continue forward and continue seeing the progress that you as an individual or that your business wants to see. So again, we often hear about with resilience, we hear about the metaphor with like bamboo that can bend and then come back. You know, it doesn't break easily in a storm because it's so bendy. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a tree whose branches are so heavy they're coming down to the ground and the tree is in danger of breaking. But once that storm is over, it survived the stresses. And while the branches are lower, the new shoots on the branch grow up towards the sky and the sun, which pulls the heavier branch up towards the sky as well. That's resiliency. Oak trees, this is just a coincidence. This is not why I was named this, but oak trees are like that. You will often see a lot of oak trees whose branches hang really low, really large trunks from the tree, and they have new shoots coming up, and they actually lift that, they keep that trunk of the tree, that offshoot, from breaking off and hitting the ground. then you also have wires that do that too, but that's a different thing. So that's resilience.
The thing is, the first feedback of the day is from my side, please, let's more interactive. Means you guys part of the stage. So if you have questions, please do me a favor and take the microphone and ask them, because we are a little bit like flexible, resilient. So if there are any questions to him, feel free. There's a microphone. Yeah, it's the first time in 2 days.
Yeah, that's what. Hi, my name is Monica Robles again. I do have a topic of resilience in my program because I believe we all human beings are resilient. We're not aware of it, of the challenges that we have in a day-to-day business or life. And I know resilience is the power to transform your pain into something positive and not stay in the ground, in the depression, but just kind of shake it up and move forward in the direction of your dreams or your vision. So that's what I have lived myself in many different situations. And that's also what I teach my entrepreneurs, through the program. So thank you so much for bringing the subject because it's very important in entrepreneurship as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? We can just share the microphones. We have one left.
Hello? Okay. So for me, when it's coming to being resilient stuff, I'm opening up something in Egypt. And though I have a wait list for people that want to move into my facility and stuff, dealing with contractors and getting something built up is just, the timeline is not where ideally I want it to be. So I experienced, like, right now, still waiting on my facility to finish getting built. I thought to do home health care and try to figure out like how to bring income in and still keep the idea of something new going and still stay within that realm of what I'm doing. Have y'all ever experienced that where you waited on something, but you had to kind of pivot a little bit more to keep your business going?
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes. So the question, did everybody hear the question? Okay, first of all, I want to make sure everybody was okay. So the question on, did you have to do something to continue to sustain yourself, right? Pay your bills and everything else as you're waiting for your other business idea or for something else to come up. Yes, that is being resilient as well. I've had to do that same thing. And that is actually what we're talking about here in building additional revenue streams. That's a perfect segue into what we're talking about, because we have to be resilient until those revenue streams take off. And especially with contractors and delays that happen, my question back to you would be, how comfortable are you maintaining where you are now with your current revenue stream until your next one gets up? And is there something else you can do that will add value or bring in additional revenue so that you can be even in a better position financially when the contractors and everything else gets going? That's another thing to consider.
So that's why I transferred over to start the home health care and giving like a luxury experience of home health care in Egypt until my facility get built. And it kind of helps a little bit because now I'm getting customers and people experience my company's work ethic and how we do things that it created us like another, oh, we got highly recommended. I'm like, how you get highly recommended? I ain't even opened up yet. But, it's just about those things, how you treat people, and it creates that extra revenue that, that is helping me with expanding and stuff now.
I just want to underline what you mentioned and what you are saying, because I have a short note from my side. I will tell it because it's important, because 2 years ago I nearly died 2 times in one day. And I had a accident where I don't know, retrograde amnesia, what really happened. But it figured out that I had to sleep 6 nights and days into an intensive care unit, and I lost my smell. Long story short, I was not able to talk, I was not able to read, but I have a retrograde amnesia. I didn't know what happened. So what I want to say now is, in the end of the day, I learned one thing out of this. My question I'm always asking myself, does it really kill you? If not, so don't give a shit about this. Just go forward. Yeah, I'm be honest with you. In the end, it's just business. It's not health. That is the thing, a big thing for resilience, just to a side note on my side. Yeah.
Absolutely right. It's also how quickly do you bounce back from a setback, right? So setbacks are bound to happen. It's really, what do you do? How do you react under those circumstances? Part of that is also being self-aware, right? Knowing ourselves, knowing our limitations. And so how, I and Oak might have the exact same business, but how I bounce back might be very different from the strategy he might employ. Just because we are different individuals, we have different strengths, different challenges. So leaning into our strengths to see how we overcome the areas where we lack, right? One, at a personal level, when it comes to the company, it's also convergence of your, the people, the processes that you have, and what systems or technologies one use, and see how they all converge to get your, the impact that you need to make.
I also just want to throw some kudos your way, because you are dealing with something that's so very unique in that you are going into a different culture to establish something that doesn't exist. Therefore, there's not safety around it from our nervous system perspective, which means what you are doing is you are creating a new type of currency. You're creating cultural awareness or cultural currency and cultural competency around something that doesn't exist in that culture today. And you're doing it in a way that cares for people. And that is hard, but that is such a big payoff, both personally, but also to the community. So thank you for doing what you're doing and going in there and taking the risk for that. That's huge. So thank you.
And one big point Oak mentioned is the resiliency means it's a cultural thing. So that means everyone needs to be aligned. And we had this discussion. I was confronting him the whole time because I was like, yeah, you're with department HR. He was like, no, crises are everywhere. Don't judge only about HR. And I was like, it's your target group is HR. He was like, no, it's not. And then we just discussed hole and hole. And now I figured out everything with the crisis. It's everywhere. It's everyone. It's CEO, it's CMO, it's CTO, wherever. Do you have a communication crisis? Somebody is cheating, like Instagram. You saw the CEO of a big company was cheating and was zooming in by a stadium camera. Now he had a crisis problem. You need to step in. Communication. You have a crisis because somebody is doing shit with another person. You have no clue. Long story short, in that terms, I translated resiliency in terms of growth, because resilience has a different meaning in growth. You have an innovative growth, which means stable. Stability in concrete growth. So what I see in the European markets and in German markets is that all the mid-sized markets has one problem, one big problem. They don't have the foundation. They don't have any alignment between the departments, marketing and sales. no talking. Marketing is doing great. Sales as well, catching up revenue. But no one is talking to each other. So what's the problem? They're not talking to each other. So the first problem is don't amplify your curiosity in terms of complexity. Please focus on what you have. Do an audit on your several departments. Look at your HR, look at your marketing, look at your communication, look at your sales. Are they talking to each other? Do they align on KPIs, whatever? Then the resilience, in no matter what it means, because success is always resiliency, that you are successful. That is good. A good integrated motivation. So what I want to say now is the first thing, keep focused on your foundation. Do you have a foundation? If yes, okay, you can scale. But if not, focus on that. Then you can add, for instance, because Banu is the AI guy from our side, and then you can as well, in the beginning or in the concrete process, you can use AI for what?
Yeah. So, I know everyone talks about AI, but we have to also introspect and say, are we ready for AI? A lot of times, our systems do not talk to each other. There's a significant amount of technical debt in our platforms, whether it's your CRM like Salesforce or, we had the earlier talk about, just maintaining a chart of accounts in your QuickBooks or maybe, NetSuite, if you have a more elaborate system. Just having basic data hygiene, quality, data quality itself, these are all foundational elements. Do you have a sales motion that is effectively captured in your CRM? Do these systems tie back to each other? The same type of transaction, do they go by different names? Even sometimes the name of a customer, right? We might have different names for the same individual person. And do your systems know that you are really talking about the same individual or the same company? In one system, you might say ABC Inc. And another, you have a full stop at the end. It's very, very, very simple things like that, right? Do you have that basic data hygiene in your systems? And are you able to? And once you have that foundation right, AI is able to take advantage of that. So that's one of the.
Perfect. Thank you. From my side, it's like I'm a fractional CMO, so I'm focusing on all the stuff like about marketing, sales, and communication in alignment, because that's the problem I'm always facing in Germany, Europe, and NASDAQ companies as well. So it's not a problem from one country, it's a problem from the world. So I think it's everyone. I built it up 3 years ago, different, because of my last role, I was a head of marketing and communication for a NASDAQ company. And that was my last employment area after I got founder for my own company. And there I figured out it needs to be 3 different pillars of getting successful and resilient growth: brand, business, and contact. Brand is what do we stand for as a company and as a brand and as a person in terms of personal branding as well. Then business. How is my sales process working? Do we have integrated CRMs? Yes or no? Which kind of CRM? Is CRM enriched by marketing and sales? If yes, perfect. If no, what's most of them? No, yeah, then you have to improve it. And the contact thing, how you want to lead. How you want to convert your leads. You're getting income through your business. And that's the big question, because everyone is talking about their own departments, but not about the other departments. Because when the moment marketing is bringing in the lead, sales needs to convert it. So there needs to be an alignment. Otherwise, the resilient growth is only a phenomenon of the moment, not a phenomenon which is stable for the future. So brand, business, and contact. Just if you have questions for this, ask me later. But that is my model. I want to just bring it up for resilient growth. And what do you want to bring in terms of speed? That's another point. Speed is a thing. Oh, you mentioned.
Yeah, so we talked about speed, the 3 of us earlier today, and there's a misperception perception that involving your employees or taking the time to be a leader that actually connects with your employees slows the process down. So I want to break that mirror right now, or break that glass right now. Taking the time, if you have employees, or even just for yourself, to be the leader that connects with the employees and keeps them connected with your clients, with your end client, even if they don't ever interact with clients. This actually speeds up your business, your time to reach your revenue goals. It speeds up productivity. It improves productivity and quality because employees feel more engaged. You feel more engaged with your clients. You see your clients as people that you're helping, whether it's with a product, a service, whatever you're doing. So while taking 15 minutes every week to touch base with folks may sound like a lot, it doesn't have to be you. It can be a supervisor. It can be a third person in your group. But making sure that you're remaining engaged with your workforce and remaining engaged with yourself. It has to start with you first, by the way. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't put a Band-Aid on somebody else if you're bleeding out. By the way, I'm in emergency medical response, so sorry for the graphic examples. That's all that comes to mind. But these things are important because ultimately it takes anywhere from 50% to 200% of an employee's salary to replace them. And that is directly from the several studies that have been done. The more junior the role, the closer to 50% you are, the more senior the role, the closer to 200% you are. So it actually is harder to replace an employee who leaves and feels disconnected and not engaged than it is to just spend 15 minutes a week with them to make sure they are engaged, to make sure their ideas about how to reach clients and their ideas about growth are actually coming through.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we never factor in the replacement cost, in our computations. It's very common to confuse, I guess, speed with velocity. Right? Are we moving in the right direction? A lot of times it's, again, I want to say, even the services we consume, is it based on activities or is it based on an outcome? What I mean by that is, it's very common in the consulting world, to invoice someone based on billable hours. Is that the right way to do that? I mean, Eric talked about KPIs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what if we move into a more of an outcome-based model, where you're not charging based on billable hours, but based on outcomes? I mean, a lot of times, right? My wife tells me, I mean, I need to get more healthy, and I say, hey, I just had half a cup of rice today, or I walked for 8 miles, and she does not care, right? Those are all activities. Her thing is the outcome. Yesterday, you weighed 200 pounds. Are you at 199 today? So, because, when you look at just the activities, we all have selection bias. We might miss certain activities there. So.
Yeah, that and what Banu is talking about is really, really important. I just want to highlight in my own business, when I started my business, it was really more billable hours model. Oh, you want me to come in, you want me to help you with your BCP, business continuity plan, disaster recovery, DR. You want me to test and assess and tell you where to grow. Okay, it'll be X amount for this minute, this much work. And what I realized was I was spending a lot more time than when I broke down my hours and made sure I was hitting my hourly rate that I said I wasn't going to go below. So what I did was I changed my model, and now I go in and my price is given to my customer only after I do an initial assessment, because my assessment is how much will this impact your company? Will it save you $1 million, $5 million? Is it in the middle of crisis that you want me to come in, or is it before the crisis? But either way, I do a financial assessment and help them understand, okay, here's how much this will cost you from a trust perspective in your customers, from a sentiment analysis with your customers. Therefore, this is my cost to you, and here's what you're going to get. Doing that, you will realize a higher ROI for yourself, because your customer is not paying you just for your service. They're paying you for your life experiences, your lived experiences. So a lot of times we think, oh, well, my degree only costs this much, and I've only been doing this for this many years. That doesn't matter. Your lived experience made you a founder. It brought you to where you are. Your customers asked you to come in and engage with them because of who you are, because of your lived experience and your emotional connection. It only makes sense that your cost to them reflects how much it means to them as well. You want to have a question?
No, not a question. I was just wanted to underline and point it out, because I can talk a lot of the European and the German markets, and I can tell you culture is not a topic in Germany and in Europe as well. I mean, we talked about this culture thing moments before, and in Germany we have, in the mid-sized markets, we have around one person maximum in HR, and that's it. We are talking about culture. They are responsible for paying our bills or paying our salary. That's it. Culture. There is no culture. And that is something which is very important that we talk about resilience, because resilience, you're paying for your best bringing profit bringer, so your employee. But in Germany and in Europe, they don't understand that. They are like getting the complexity more and more complex by adding more and more tasks and more tools. But in the end, customer satisfaction is one important thing, but a customer satisfaction can be reached only when the employer is satisfied. So that is one thing I want to just underline, because of my experience around 10 persons within the last 10 clients within the last 2 years. So I just want to summarize that, because think about this, and one topic and one question, because I have one question. If you want to have a snackable, we want to have snackable content. What advice would you give some of these leaders to do every morning with their team? Just want to ask, what should they ask them in terms of satisfaction?
Sure. The one question I would think, right, if you have a new revenue stream, let's say you want to bring a new product, maybe a subscription-based model you want to move towards, or you want to add a new territory to your offering, how quickly can you do that? Are your systems and processes geared to where you can start doing that with no manual entries, with minimal effort? Or are you going to have to go through a whole training program, other things, right? So the speed to value, how quickly can you get, realize value, is the one metric I would look at and say, are we ready? That's one question.
So some snackable content, right?
Exactly.
So
Easy to digest.
I think lunch is coming soon.
Yeah.
Don't worry. We're not up here forever. All right. So I have a few. First of all, when you open your eyes every day, when you open your eyes every day in bed and you're about to get up, leave your phone alone. Don't make the first thing you do after you open your eyes reaching for your phone, please. If it's at all possible, do what you need. If that's take a few deep breaths, if that's realizing you're awake and it's another day, maybe it's another day closer to your product or service launch. Maybe it's another day of despair dealing with more contractors. Whatever it is, take a minute for yourself, because when you get out of bed, you have to start showing up for everybody around you. If you have a family, if you have a partner or a spouse, if you have clients, whatever it is. But if you don't have you first, it doesn't matter what you're going to do next, because you're already running at a deficit. So how you can run your business with your bank account in the negative, I don't know. But that's the analogy. You have to give to you first when you wake up. The second thing I would say is if you have employees, connect with them once a week, no less. And many of you are founders. If the number of employees you have is like 5 or 10, it is not impossible to meet with them once a week. If they're full-time employees for you or whatever. If they're part-time, every other week. But please meet with them for 15 minutes. Ask them how the business is doing at a high level. Do they even know? Because that's their investment. If they don't have an emotional investment in their job or their role, they're not going to be there in the long term. And then you're going to have to spend a lot more to replace them and to replace that institutional knowledge that they're developing now. And that will be completely gone if they just decide, yep, you know what? I got a better job. I'm out. You're like, wait, who's going to do all these things? And they're not written down.
And just think about one topic and one KPI. Illness factor will be decreasing, not increasing. So that means if a satisfied employee, do you hear me? Yeah. Okay. If a satisfied employee is very motivated and getting not so much ill, so keep an eye on your employees because they're the most important and most valuable chains. So that is for now. I would like to ask you, what about resilience? You have different angles. I am the revenue architect. He is the techie guy. He is the crisis guy. So are there any questions from your side? We are in a founders group, so we talk about snackable content. Any questions about growth? What you want to ever ask the CMO or a CEO or a CEO?
Step up to a mic or ask us to give you a mic. We want to hear from you all. We don't want to keep talking. I mean, it's not a bad thing, but
First things first. Perfect.
I might find my question within the comment, but as someone who's worked in nonprofits and has founded my own business and failed, which meant learning process with a lot of other people, and I'm now restructuring and rebranding to the cohesive vision of the team, is something that I've learned. When balancing revenue, you can chase revenue streams all day long, but then you start losing the vision of your company and why you're doing it and the people aspect. All these wonderful people that are helping it run, because we can't do it without them, right? And then if you're solely focused on vision and then now you're trying to run your business with no money in the bank, that's obviously not sustainable either. And I think I just found my question. So 2 aspects, which is relevant to what you were talking about, of what we do as visionaries, as founders, is we saw something that we were passionate about. So we pursued it. And the reason people support us is because they see our passion and they support that. And if they don't, they will in time, or they're going to fall off because they're not in alignment with what we do. So I guess my question to the 3 of you, since you have different expertise, is in your experience, what has been the most sustainable pathway for trusting your intuition, for hiring, for managing all of these things, to keep that alignment, to keep revenue stream, to keep company culture, and to keep that value and passion alignment moving forward? That was a lot.
It's easy for me because I'm a consultant. I need things pretty easy. It's my gut feeling. After my accident, I learned to learn from my gut feeling because it's a feeling that strengthens my idea intuition and shows me that I'm on the right way. Because every time I heard on this gut feeling, I got more and more successful. And that is something where we are to feel on something which we are not aware of. So trust your gut and go forward.
So to me, increasing revenue streams is a byproduct of a lot of other things we do. So, we cannot have the, tail wag the dog in some sense there, right? So this is why I was talking earlier also about outcome-based services. What I mean by that is start with the end in mind, right? So look at the problems customers have. How do you get to solve their problems? So instead of billable hours, if you have an outcome, you are increasing customer satisfaction, but also it engenders trust with your customer. Imagine, if you just have a billable hours, you think an activity is going to take 100 hours, you're 80% of the way done, you've blown up 80% of your budget, but you actually accomplished only 20% or 30% of the task where you are, right? So it leaves a really bad taste if you have to go back, depending on your customer, you file a change request or you have to ask for additional funds. So if you do the outcome-based model, there is there's a lot of determinism for your customers as well. So they know what they are signing up for. When they get it, you get paid. It's not easy, right? How do you define outcomes? That's where what Oak talked about earlier, doing an initial assessment. And sometimes that's the investment you make as a founder to say, let me understand your problem, instead of just going with a rate card. Have that assessment and figure out what does it take to get to the goalpost, and then quote.
Yeah, and just to add on to what they've answered, and I'll make this quick, is if you're in a business and you have a vision and you're going for that, as the orange guy is known,
Thank you.
as he said, trust your gut, but also trust the people around you. Don't be afraid to seek out support in the form of, hey, you know me really well. We've been friends for a long time. You know what my skills are. You know where I've been. I'm thinking about this thing, and I'm thinking about doing it this way. What do you think? Don't be afraid to ask people. I'm not talking about going to a paid person necessarily. I'm talking about the people that know you, because they know you as the human before they know you as the founder, and they will more easily understand your question, and they know your strengths. So they can tell you, you've been kind of all over the place with the ideas recently. I think that's great, but have you thought about this? So learn to trust the people around you as a support system and use them as well as your gut.
Thank you. One question from my side. How long do we have time? So
This would keep going. Who's got a question?
who's got a question? Exactly. So let's move forward.
Go ahead.
So normally I found that resiliency comes a lot of times from failures.
Yes.
So could each one of you describe a failure that you've gone through in business and how you were able to turn that into something that was very positive? You mentioned like the idea of the tree falling over and growing from that, but actual real world examples in your own lives, I think it would be helpful for everybody.
First, did everybody hear that question? And I can't see very well because of the lights. Did y'all hear the question? No. So the question was, can you give examples in your own life of resiliency where something failed massively and then you came back from it, and how? So go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good question. Banu?
Sure. So I'll take something from my professional life, and then we can talk about stuff on the personal side as well. So when I started Yuga Shift, the company I now founded, the company that I run, we are a consulting partner for Salesforce. It's a very crowded space. Okay, we have 5 minutes. Okay, I'll make this quick, right? It's a very crowded space. So how do I distinguish myself? Right now, when I started, I did go in saying, these are my advisory services, so I would submit time cards, get paid for that. And what I realized is I'm very, very expensive. Most of my customers cannot afford me. And then I realized that's because my rates are almost double of some of my competitors. What I also realized, and so I was not able to make much headway. What I also realized is, well, I'm 3 times more efficient than some of the competition. So really, to get a job done, it takes me 1/3 of the time it takes somebody else. So there is a speed to value um, aspect to that. So I had to pivot, and I had to say, I'm not selling hours. What I'm selling is an outcome. How do I do that? And a lot of times it means understanding the innards, right? If your fuel line is jammed up, just having a souped up engine is just going to blow it up. So you got to understand where the friction points are. So that's my learning on this, but I'll come to something on the personal side on this you guys have.
I have to actually something because I have ADHD as well as Julio. By the way, hello, Julio. So I have a practical thing from today. It was like Kevin, as I mentioned before, is got not here because of medical issue. So I was confronted with the moderation. I was like, fuck, I'm completely new here. I'm a German guy. Why the hell should I be the moderator? And I looked in my mirror and said, you can do it. Trust yourself. And then I walked downstairs, had a meeting with these guys. We had a lot of funny conversations, but it showed me, better say, the resilience of myself, because I got really calm and I thought I can make it. And fear, I learned it from Julio, false evidence appearing real. That was something I mentioned yesterday. I learned yesterday. So keep that in mind.
Wow, that's a good question that you raised. It makes people vulnerable, like if they choose to answer in that way. So I trust this is a safe room. All right. So the business that I run right now is not my first business. Surprise, right? We're in a founders group. How many businesses have we started and failed? So the first business I had, I started a very long time ago thinking that, oh, everybody likes this product. I'll have an online store and I'll house the product in a warehouse local to where I used to live. And then I'll sell it from there. And yeah, this will be good. I cannot tell you how quickly that I feel like I didn't waste the time. So I want to preface with that. I didn't waste the money, even though it feels like I did. But that was an utter failure. Like, I brought in all this product, did all this research. I mean, like months and months and months of planning and researching and trying to figure out where my suppliers were going to come from, how I was going to market it, what my logo was going to be in my branding colors, and on and on and on. Because I could just see the outcome. I started with the outcome. It didn't work. So it was an utter failure. Okay, so launched, spent all this money, then I had all this product of stuff that I didn't use this product. Like it wasn't stuff that I would wear or use at all. But it was supposedly a good market. It was an utter failure. So I had to recoup all of those costs somehow. So then I realized the business wasn't going anywhere after about 2 years. Sometimes it takes me a little bit longer to learn that I'm failing than most people. Somebody else would have caught it sooner. So I took all of that product, sold it as it was brand new. I sold it to another company that was doing what I was doing, who was very successful, and I was jealous. And I thought, I'm not a business person. I'm not doing this. I just got to find a place to work, and that's what I'll do. And I did. And then I had an idea. And I thought, no, I can't do that. Remember, I'm a failure in business. It took me 2 years to learn that this thing isn't working. But in those 2 years, working at another company, working in the corporate world, as I had been for a while, my soul was just being eaten alive. I kept making more money for people who had a whole lot of money already. And I could just feel that I wasn't in the right place. So I took a little bit longer to plan out a new business, to really understand what my strengths were, to understand where I had been, to talk with friends, to talk with people who knew me, to truly try to understand who I am as a human being. Fast forward 3 years. I told you it takes me a long time to learn. And I had a concept. Fast forward another year, and I built my business. And since that time, I've been working in this business. So it's actually, I opened it in 2021 officially, but I've been working in it a lot longer than that. But that failure in the initial business was so hard for me to like go, oh, this is embarrassing. How come I didn't see all of these signs in the data? I'm a data scientist. Like, how do I miss all these things? Because it was too personal to me. I was too close to it. And I didn't engage other people and ask them what they thought or what their vision was. You get a lot of information from people who have a different set of glasses than you do. In my current business, that's a key. That's why we've been successful. Because even though there aren't too many other employees, there are a lot of people that I surround myself with who have not single vision glasses, but maybe transition lenses, or who've got, what is it called? The 3 lines in their glasses, or 2 lines, bifocals, right? Who can give a different perspective and keep me on track. And I am thankful for those people every day. So hope that answers your question.
So what I want to do now is to close this perfect panel in a harmonic way. So what I want to show first as a snackable content, take it with you, gratitude. First of all, I would like to thank these 2 panelists. They did a great job. We normally were 6. Now we are 2, 3. So thank you guys for everything. Thank you as the audience. It was great that you asked the right questions. So I hope you enjoyed it as well. So from my side, if there are any questions, I'll be here the next 2 days. Thank you guys. Thank Og, thank Banu, and enjoy the event. Have a good one.